prosecution of Donald Trump has been a controversial issue for many years, and it has recently been brought back into the spotlight. MSNBC's podcast, Prosecuting Donald Trump, takes a look at the debate and all sides involved. Hosted by host Lawrence O'Donnell, the podcast examines the legal and political implications of prosecuting a sitting president. It looks at the implications for the office of the president, and considers the potential consequences of a successful prosecution. Guests on the podcast include legal scholars, journalists, and other experts as they discuss Trump and the possibility of prosecuting him. They look at the possible punishments he could face if successfully prosecuted. They also consider the implications a criminal trial would have on Trump's political future, as well as on the office of the president. They analyze the potential impact of the trial on public opinion and the security of the nation. Additionally, the podcast discusses the legal arguments that could be made in favor and against prosecuting Trump, as well as the likelihood that such a prosecution would be successful. O'Donnell and guests discuss the various aspects of Trump's business dealings and financial activities. The podcast also looks at the potential conflicts of interest and the ethics violations that have been cited against Trump. Guests discuss the legal ramifications for any potential violations and the possible consequences for the president. The podcast also delves into the history of presidential impeachments and considers the current context in which Donald Trump is operating. They talk about the public perception of any potential prosecution and analyze the implications for both Trump's political future and the security of the nation. They also examine how the Republican Party would react to such a trial and the likely outcomes for both Trump and the country. As part of the discussion, the podcast addresses the question of whether Trump is truly being targeted without legal justification. In addition to considering the legal and political implications of prosecuting Donald Trump, Prosecuting Donald Trump also looks at the larger societal and cultural impacts of such a trial. They look at the potential implications for democracy and discuss how this type of prosecution could affect public trust in the government. They also look at how other nations may respond to the prosecution of a sitting president. The podcast also touches on the economic impacts of such a trial. They look at the potential consequences for the stock market, economic growth, and global trade. Furthermore, Prosecuting Donald Trump considers the implications a trial could have on public and private institutions, including the military and public infrastructure. They also examine the potential impacts on civil and criminal justice systems, and the implications for civil rights. Lastly, the podcast looks at how a trial of this magnitude might affect the next presidential election. Above all, Prosecuting Donald Trump is an important podcast that looks at one of the most controversial issues of our time. It enables viewers to gain a better understanding of all sides of the debate, as well as the implications of a successful prosecution of the president. By looking at the potential legal and political implications of a successful prosecution as well as the larger societal impacts, the podcast provides an in-depth look at this complex issue. Anyone looking to gain a better understanding of the debate surrounding the prosecution of President Trump should consider listening to MSNBC's Prosecuting Donald Trump podcast. Beyond providing an informative look into one of the most divisive issues, Prosecuting Donald Trump also serves as a reminder of the importance of holding leaders accountable for their actions. This serves as a much-needed reminder of the importance of accountability, even in the unique case of prosecuting a sitting president. The podcast offers further insight into many of the key issues and developments of the debate, and provides a window into the broader implications of a successful prosecution. By presenting the discussion in a balanced and fair manner, the podcast helps to bring the issue to the public's attention and gives viewers a better appreciation of what is at stake in this situation. Prosecuting Donald Trump examines the potential consequences of a successful prosecution in detail, which helps viewers to better understand the magnitude of such an action. By presenting the discussion in such a meticulous fashion, the podcast also ensures that viewers are aware of different perspectives when it comes to the debate. This podcast serves as an important reminder that the prosecution of any leader should be taken seriously and that the public should be informed of the potential consequences of such a trial. The podcast also reminds viewers of the importance of due process and the need for a fair legal system. In addition to providing a balanced look at the issue, Prosecuting Donald Trump also provides a platform for viewers to express their views and opinions on the issue.